Hey everybody, TG here with Simpler Trading. And if you guys want to find more information about me after we get done with this for your daily 5, you can go check me out at profitpilot.com. More information at the end. So let's get into it with today's daily 5 and see what's cooking right now in the markets. I'm sure many of you have been hearing what's been going on with Bitcoin, which we can view through the ETF of GBTC. And it has been going really, really well for quite some time, several weeks, couple months at this point. And what I've been doing is actually playing some other stocks related to Bitcoin because they tend to be more volatile. And we are seeing exactly that today. I was kind of making a joke that some of these actually took a little bit of time to catch up. And once they did, they had a lot of distance to make up. And we'll get into that one to the next slide. But what we can see here with GBTC, because this was just a beautiful trade setup using the Moxie indicator, which we have here, and that you can see that we kept having price kind of slowly go down and through this area. But look at the Moxie indicator, it kept trending up, and that is the positive divergence that we need to know about and that we actually need to look at. And then when the indicator goes from negative to positive, you can see that the Moxie price trigger fired. That is a big indication. You can see it's also here on the daily chart. So these things are scannable. You can actually search for them, and that means that stocks like this, even if they're not on your list, if they're not on your radar, they will be brought to your attention. And that is an excellent, excellent thing to be having so that you can actually see what's going on with the market. So if you didn't get that, or if you weren't too sure about something, it popped. I'm more like the second trade kind of person. I like to wait until price actually tests these moving averages. And you can see that right there, that price came back down and tested the hourly 50 SMA, and the Moxie indicator was very, very much above zero. And ever since this thing was a beautiful trade. It just kept falling. A little errant right there. Okay, so be it. But other than that, the bulk of the trade and the candles just kept following the hourly 50, and this thing has just been doing wonderfully. I think that it's up to about 60 or 70% gain from all the way back down here, and it just hasn't stopped. So with this as the backdrop, knowing that Bitcoin has been doing really, really well, then you go look around at maybe some other stocks that either trade with or trade similar or benefit from a rising Bitcoin. And that one brings us to Riot. And this one has been fun. I'm glad that this actually started working just in time. Now, the one thing I do want to show is that down here at the bottom left, you can actually see this is the trade alert from my Moxie subscription alert service. And what I want to highlight is that this was on the 12th. This was actually our second entry. We got one the day before, and then the second day it continued to work. I said, all right, let's get into this even more. And then I said, right here at the bottom, in a perfect world, you can see here, in a perfect world, this looks like it should get moving tomorrow. And tomorrow it did. So here was the 11th, this was the 12th, and then the 13th, this thing started taking off, the 14th, and then poof, it started to really move on up here. So very, very good. Love this trade. And as it took a little bit for it to get going, but once again, here is the Moxie price trigger on the daily chart. Here is the Moxie price trigger on the hourly chart, denoting that energy and momentum has now gone positive. And what you can see here is it actually did a double bottom off of the daily 50. It continued to just follow the hourly 50, just beautiful. The 8 was over the 21. Everything was positive. Everything was bullish. It just kind of took a little bit of time to bounce along. And then you can see here, once again, we got price bouncing along the 15-minute 50, and then the last opportunity to get into this thing before it really took off was right here as price started to bounce into the now uptrending 15-minute 50, and the Moxie indicator was looking pretty solid. This thing has just been a real screamer for us. It moved something like 10% the day before, or 2 days before it really moved. And then yesterday, when this thing really took off, it started to explode. And I think we got 45 or 47% in one day. So we are up over 66% total in the move with this, with just stock. Now, I even had some people who took some options on this thing, and that was a real screamer for them. I took one small option because I kind of dabble a little bit in options, and it's up 120%. So this was some really, really good stuff. And as I said, it's been kind of funny to think, hey, Bitcoin kept moving and moving and moving. What's up with these things? Well, I guess they just wanted to incubate for a little bit. And the other thing you're looking at, look at the volume. Now, I had to take this earlier in the day. It went up to something like 82 million shares. That is a massive amount of volume that came into this thing. So that leads me to think that there should be some continuation, should be some entry, continuation entries on this one. But this has been really, really good. And all I can say is we called this one and said, hey, this thing should get going the very next day, and indeed it did. All right, then that brings us over to the other hot sector. Hopefully you guys have all been hearing about this with the electric vehicles. Now, some of these are a little bit crazier than others, but overall the whole sector seems to be doing pretty well. We've been catching a variety of these, but I wanted to show you one in particular that worked out exceptionally well for me, and this one was Solo. Now, maybe you haven't heard about this, not surprised. It is a three-wheel electric car manufacturer in Canada. And I don't know what the deal is, but for whatever reason, these things are really starting to heat up. And so you just don't argue, you go with the flow. Once again, here is the Moxie price trigger telling you that the momentum and the energy has gone from negative to positive. That's your heads up. And that is the thing that is searchable and scannable and will be brought to your attention if you didn't know a stock like this. And then what you can see here is price pulled back into the hourly 50 right there. And then this is where I entered. You can see I have it here, 11.4 at about $2.98. And then I just kind of let this thing go. There was earnings. I usually get you never know what's going to happen on earnings, but this one was actually behaved pretty well. It came back down to the hourly 50. You can see it bounced right off of the hourly 50, and then it just kept looking better and better and better. And then at the very end, when this thing got just crazy, I just decided to sell out here. You can see $7.13. That was a total gain of 139%, and that was just stock. Imagine what you could do if this was some options on there. But that was a pretty quick trade in what, nine days? Yeah, I'll take that. So Solo was a good one. Right now it's kind of crazy. Let's see if there's another opportunity later for Solo. Again, with the electric car space, because I wanted to keep letting you guys know that there's more out here. So as part of your daily 5, here's a multi-pack. If you look at AYRO, once again, here's the Moxie price trigger telling us, hey, momentum and energy has now gone from negative to positive. So let's look at that. And then you just kind of wait. And here is my best setup. For those of you who've taken the Moxie course or know the Moxie indicator or with me in the subscription service, you know that the trampoline move is one of my best and most powerful setups. And that's when price is below the 50, but the Moxie indicator is above 0. It's a high buoyancy, high energy trade. And you can see this thing just worked perfectly. And we got in here just because I wanted to make sure this thing worked, and actually kind of surprised us that it shot up out of nowhere. So we hurry up, we got in there, and so far we're at 30% gain. And I think that there's still plenty more to go, because look at the volume that's been coming in on this thing. And this is the hourly chart, hourly setup. Now, how about Nikolai? Now, Nikolai today is having a great day. I've been watching this the charts today, so this is old news on this chart. We are, I can't even forget where we are right now. Maybe I'll take a look real quick. And so Nikolai, yeah, we're at 24.94. We're up here. We're up in this area. So that has been really good. So screw this 14% gain. We're up even higher. But what you can see is we've had kind of that same set of price coming down. Look at that divergence. Look at that positive Moxie to divergence on there telling us something was going to happen. We waited till after earnings. And then you can see here, price bounced right off the hourly 50. The Moxie indicator was sky high and looking great. That's where we got in, and it just keeps pushing. And now we are up here near the $25 area. So, the electric vehicle space is doing great. Hope you guys are aware of it. Go find the ones that you can get into and see what we can do about it. Now, another sector that's doing pretty well, or at least looks like it's about to do pretty well. If anybody remembers JKS, Genco Solar, which is solar, that thing went crazy a while ago. And well, I wasn't able to catch that one. What I have been doing is watching the solar space, because it sure looks like something is going on within the solar. And what I decided to do was show you TAN, which is the ETF, because there are quite a few names that are looking just like this, that look like they're ready to go. Some of the other names like Genco, they've already had their run. They need to take a little bit more of a breather. But if you look here, we've got the daily, the hourly, and the 15-minute time frame. Everything is looking pretty good. We've had price right here come back down and tap the daily 50. The daily 50 is clearly in an uptrend. MOXY indicators above zero. We even have a squeeze going on here. And then on, well, I kind of finish up on the daily chart. Look at this. Doesn't that look like that is just sitting there, flagging sideways, just waiting for the next something to get going? That looks beautiful. And if it can just start getting past this previous high, it looks like it'll just start moving up there into, you know, the new highs and everything. And what we could also see is going into that price down, MOXY indicator up. Okay, not quite my trade, but that's good to see. My trade is, remember that trampoline move, price below the 50. And in this case, it was almost a trampoline move. Not exactly quite there, but I've seen this enough times that I'm looking at that and it's like, I think that's pretty much gonna work. Price below the 50, staying above the 200, MOXY indicator crossing over zero. And then you can see here, double bottom on the 15, positive divergence on the MOXY indicator, and now you're back above the 15-minute 50. Everything is setting up with this, and you can see we have a squeeze on the hourly, we have a squeeze on the daily. I think you should be taking a look at solar. I think something's gonna be going on with that. It's looking pretty good. There's a lot of energy coming into it, and let's make sure, just like the electric car space, let's make sure we kind of get something when it comes to solar as well. All right, and that is going to be your Daily 5. Thank you very much for watching. And if anybody is interested in a little bit more information about me, who I am, what I do, you can come over here, check out the newsletter and some more information at profitpilot.com. Make sure you put that hyphen in there. And if anybody wants to check out the socials, I've actually just came back from a good road trip from Austin to Phoenix to Washington. I got to see some amazing things out there with the sights and the sounds, giant redwood trees, the California beach and surfing. So check me out on Twitter, and then you can Facebook and Instagram, and that's where you guys can see a little bit more about who I am and what I do. And until then, appreciate it. And you guys can come over here to simplertrading.com and again, find out more about the service. And that's where we get actually to send out all those alerts and texts.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.